Welcome to another episode here at my YouTube channel. I've been working a little bit, actually a lot, on my hotspots eventually to figure out more stuff and even potentially changing out the operating system, moving away from PyStar to another one. As far as I understand, and there are mixed messages out there, if the PyStar system is like no longer existent eventually, or if it is just very slow developing and there's just a one guy show there and stuff like that. So I wanted to see if I could find alternatives before its PyStar system is just basically shutting down. But I don't think they are shutting down. It's just that development is kind of slow and they are not continuing developing on the appearance of the PyStar system, well, basically the web interface that you and I see in daily use. But I've seen version 1.41, no, sorry, 4.1.8. I've seen that as a very recent version, and then I'm also seeing um, version 4.2.0, but 4.2.0 is not an operating system that you can just upgrade from within your hotspot that you have. You have to just re-download and just reflash the card and everything. But apparently that's in somewhat beta state, but it's the latest of the latest basically. And I had a fellow Ham in Tromsø. He tested the difference between 4.1.8 and 4.2.0, and he couldn't find any noticeable differences. So it might just be like security stuff and optimization performance and stuff like that. I'm not quite sure. But I want to take a good look again on the WPSD Whiskey Papa Sierra Delta system. Originally, it is built on the Pi Star, but now it is like a separate system, and it works really well when I understood how you do it. And to somewhat extent, I think it's more manageable than the Pi Star system, but yet you do have a lot of flexibility. It seems much more advanced. In the upper right corner, when I'm getting an update, I will get a notification up here. And that's pretty cool. That's really cool. So I was bold enough to just delete PyStar from my first hotspot, which is a Raspberry Pi Zero first gen, and I got into quite a bit of trouble that I had to figure out how to solve. But eventually I solved it, and I'll give you the recipe for it. And the Raspberry Pi Zero, sorry, the Raspberry Pi 4 is the monster Pi that I used. It's everything is converted over to cross mode DMR, and it works really well. I'm very impressed with the Yaesu system. I think the audio quality might sound a little bit better from that. I don't know, or might maybe just be me. Um, yeah, I'm impressed. One thing for sure, if you have two different hotspots, just have two different host name on it. It will definitely help. So for my DMR, my host name is dmr.local, and for the cross mode hotspot is crossmode.local with two different IP address. Um, One thing, all right, so let's use this one just for a little bit for going through some of the configuration. It's unbelievable. You have everything up here and running. It's like no problem at all. If I'm going into configuration, and I do like that everything is under configuration, and then the admin and stuff like that. But when the first configuration that you're doing, you're writing the host name, and then you put in your name, in my case LB6QJ, and when you do, the DMR ID will auto-populate with your own DMR ID. It will basically be downloaded from radioid.net. And that is pretty stinking cool. I did that with both of the system, and I was for the Raspberry Pi 4, I was up and running in less than 5 minutes, I would say. It was though a lot slower for the Raspberry Pi Zero. I was using 9 minutes from the beginning to the end. And that's without the problem that I discovered. I used another extra 20 minutes to update the system. Okay, but it works really, really good. And you remember the boxes that the Pi system, you have to click apply changes on every single box. You don't have to do that. But if you are going to configure DMR cross mode, you kind of have to finish the entire system DMR configuration first, then save it, and then you will receive the screen Reacer System Fusion configuration, because DMR mode must be enabled prior to the configuration of the cross mode. It makes perfectly sense doing that. And you only have one save button, and you don't even see the save button. As soon as you're doing some changes to the system, you will see a save button. You click apply, or you can revert the changes that I'm going to do here. And that's pretty much it. I'm really, really surprised. But it wasn't without any problem. I got into problem with the Raspberry Pi Zero, and I'll explain about it. The aprs.no or FI, or the Finnish web page, I do like to use this one, or even the aprs.no, which is very, very useful for me, because when I'm gone, I'll live here somewhere here on the map. But I'm using two fields here where I placed the fixed location of each of my hotspots, so I can just go in from anywhere in the world and just see if they are up and running. And if I know that they are up and running, then I know that my rest of my network home is up and running. So this is just for me. I don't have to have this up and running, but it's pretty cool. Yeah, I wish I could change the description of this. If you know, just let me know. That would be very cool. Okay, so the next thing, right? So let's talk about the Pi-Star 0 version 1. As far as I understand, yeah, you can do it, but some Raspberry Pis, when you do it, you will get a 503 error, 503 bad gateway error, I believe. Yes. So it kind of looks like very much as no open picture. So it does look very much this after a while, after you're first booting up the system the first time. And that is a known error by the WPSD project. And so I was searching on their webpage, and I'm sorry, yeah, 502 gateway error. And you have to log in with SSH to the Raspberry Pi, and you have to run some code. And apparently, you have to run sudo WPSD hyphen update. And that is not everything, but it's the first step out of a few that you have to run. But that's the problem. Where was in a corrupt file, and I'll explain about it because I've written everything down. So this video is equally good for me as well, because I can fix this stuff later if I'm receiving the same error later in a few years. So I wrote down a couple of commands. So first you have to run. Nope, not paint. I'm using SSH program called PuTTY. And basically I just log into my hotspot with the IP address of what it has. Don't ask me how to do it, just kind of have to figure stuff out. I'm not very good at giving technical support. I was using the wrong, didn't use a dot, I used a comma, which is wrong. So 10.2.0, yeah, no, 0.0.2. That was wrong too, sorry me. 10.0.0.2. Alright, so log in, and it is actually very easy. It's pi hyphen star, and then the password is raspberry. And that's when you kind of have to run all of the commands when you're logging. So when you see WPSD, that's when you know that you are in. Yeah. So yeah. So first you have to run the update of the software, and when that is done, you have to update the operating system, and that's when I just discovered I had some problems, and it got the dpk error. Fgets gave an empty string from a file called unicorp. So what I had to do was to remove the file and then touch it again, so it will be I made a new file called unicorp. I'll just call it unicorn. So that's why you're using touch, or you can use nano, but then you have to exit the terminal when you're done. And after that, you are running the command again before you updating the operating system. And when you have updated the operating system, you are rebooting the device. So that is the recipe that you kind of have to go through. I'm sorry, but I'm just telling what I'm doing. I'm not particularly helping out here on YouTube on how to do it. Just kind of have to figure that one out. But that's the radio amateur world. We are eager to figure stuff out ourselves, because that's just how it works. So when it has rebooted, then you log in again into the system, and then you go to configuration, and then you can configure everything again. I also added the API key, which is very, very useful because I'm administrating these static talk groups from the Brandmeister web page on each system. Again, it's not that complicated. For a new guy, I can understand this is complicated. But if you have a Raspberry Pi 4, a Raspberry Pi 4, then that is a recommended system. For now, it is not recommended by the WPSD project to use a Raspberry Pi 5, because that is a very quick system that I really want to test out later. But it's not, they don't have an image for it yet. So don't use a Raspberry Pi 5. And don't use a Raspberry Pi 0 version 2 either, because it's a different architecture as far as I understand. But I have nothing left to say. I like the system. There is one thing I do like about it. If I'm going back to the dashboard, you can pretty much do anything in here. You will, by default, when you're clicking a call sign, it will go to QRZ. That's what I do like. In the Python system, you can set it manually if you're looking on my previous video. But you'll get everything. And you can like take away stuff that you don't like. You have status on like everything. But one thing I do like, and that's the live caller. And I talked to another ham operator in Tromsø today over the phone, and he has this page on his secondary monitor on his system, and he loves it. So he don't have to use like the small screen that you can add into the system. He just doesn't have that. But I'll give a good demonstration of it. So basically what I'm going to do is to call, I'm on the PyStar, no, I'm on the cross mode one. So I'm switching over to cross mode, then I'm going to call the parrot. It does has a parrot system on, that's what I do like. LB6QJ test over. LB6QJ test over. So anyone that is calling into the system, you will see in the live page who is calling, where you're from, name and place and counties. Well, we don't have Troms or Finnmark anymore. And Norway and the duration and everything. So that is pretty good. I absolutely do like it. So let's go on to the number 2. Let's just test the parrot there if it is picking up. Maybe there's some different information I'm getting on the DMR. Oh, maybe not. So that was the last user that called in on 242. 242 is a static group that I am listening on. So even though I am on the parrot system on the radio, I'm also listening on a couple of other channels statically, which is nice. Love it. All right, so calling up parrot on DMR. I'll be 6Q test over. Yep, here's my info. I'll be 6Q test over. That was the parrot system that was checking in on me. All right, so I like it. I like it. Despite the problems that I had with the Raspberry Pi Zero, I think I'm turned. I don't think I will return to the W system. It is called the WPSD, but the web page is w0cph.radio. I do recommend taking a very good look on this system. For me, this is I would say it's a small game changer. If it is going to be developed, I certainly hope so. So yeah. Well, I've been talking here for 18 minutes. Again, my YouTube channel is probably as Kjetil is saying it. It's more like a vlogging style that I do, but also just to share the experience I have. I love tinkering with technology, and especially computer technology, which I'm also having that as my professional job. So computer is a hobby that I'm making money on, and radio amateur is a hobby that I'm using money on. So I am living in the best of two worlds, basically, as far as I see it. All right, I hope you liked the episode, and you know what to do. Just thumbs up or thumbs down. Also hit the subscribe button so you get notification on new videos in the future. And it will definitely help me in the long run. And with that, bye-bye.